Hey everyone, welcome to the next exercise. This is exercise 5G, volumes of prisms. Alright, volume's a little bit different to capacity. We'll talk about that a little bit as well, but we'll quickly talk about different units that we're going to be converting. So a meter cubed, okay, we've talked about length and then we've talked about area. Now we're talking about volume, so cubed. So this is a meter by a meter by a meter. Now if you're to get a meter ruler, go across the second way and then up to create a cubic meter. That's 1 ton of water basically. So to give you an idea of how much it would weigh, that's 1 ton of water. We could also have something larger, so a kilometer cubed. When we're talking a kilometer, that's a kilometer high. So you'd be talking about like atmosphere or the volume of a mountain or something like that. Something really quite large when we're talking kilometers cubed. Centimeters cubed. Okay, one of those, remember those little MAB blocks? That's centimeters cubed. All right, the little tiny ones. When we talk about engine sizes, CC, that's centimeters cubed. That's the size of an engine. Millimeters cubed, you're talking about probably medicine, something far, far smaller. Okay, really quite tiny. Now, when we convert these, it's all much the same as how we did it with area and volume. It's just slightly different. So to go from kilometers cubed to meters cubed, there's 1,000 meters in a kilometer, but it's cubed. Okay, there's 100 centimeters in a meter, so it's 100 cubed, and much the same that way. Okay, 10 cubed. When we go back the other way, it is divide. Divide by 1,000 cubed. I'll show you how to do that onto your calculator. So, for example, let's say we had 43 centimeters cubed, and we want to turn that into millimeters cubed. All right, so we'd go 43. What do we got to do to go from centimeters cubed to millimeters? Times by 10 cubed. I'm happy for you to use your calculator for this sort of stuff if you want. So 43 times 10, the cube button is here next to the squared button, and then equals 43,000 millimeters cubed. Alright, so that gives you a bit of an idea of what we need to do. You can just use your calculator for a lot of those. The next part, we're going to actually go into some formulas. So we're going to go into the formulas that we're going to use for a rectangular prism and for a triangular prism. So for rectangular, okay, you might remember how to draw a rectangular prism. All right, like that. The volume equals the length times the width times the height. So we could say this is the height, this is the width, and this is the length. All right. For a triangular prism, the important thing we need to remember is that it's got the same cross section. All right. So what I mean by that is this part at the front is exactly the same at the back and all the way through. So a consistent cross section. All right. There's some more information in the textbook if you'd like to have a look at that, but we need to know the same sort of things. The base, the length, and the height. Okay? Length. Alright, so they're the things that we still need to know. The volume for a triangular prism is 1/2 times the base times the height, which we know already. That's our triangular one. So that's finding the front times by the length. This one here. All right. So that's all we're adding into it basically. Finding the consistent, having the consistent cross section is the most important part though. All right. So much like with a cylinder, the cylinder has a consistent cross section all the way through. All right. It doesn't matter necessarily the shape at the top and the bottom, as long as they're exactly the same. All right. If we're wanting to do an example of a triangular prism and we put some values on this, let's say that this is 6 centimeters here, the base is 4 centimeters, and the height is 3 centimeters. Okay, the height. We would say volume equals 1/2 base times height times length. The base equals the 4. The height equals the 3. And the length equals 6. So right, V equals 1/2 times 4 times 3 times 6. And we can put that into your calculator, or you can work it out in your head that half of 4 is 2, so 2 times 3 is 6 times 6 again is 36 centimeters cubed. Alright, important that you put the cube there. Alright guys, that's how you find the volume of a rectangular prism. You can apply the same thing to a rectangular prism, or any sort of prism, as long as you know the formula. Alright guys, have a go at the exercise. All the best. Take care.